Hello guys, we will continue this video now. I think the last monster we said was this one. So let's keep one with Cassandra. I think this monster most potential is on raid boss because this first skill depends on enemy because if she has elemental advantage it's defense break. If she has elemental neutral with the other monster she attack break, and attack break is one of the most important debuffs on raid boss. So I think this is what makes her a good monster. Plus the second part of her skill, it makes her do more damage. And if she has elemental disadvantage, she will sleep the monster. And she has 2 AoE and a fire lead, which makes her a very interesting monster in my opinion. But this skill is useless for raid, which keeps her from being so OP. Like the dark one, but dark is hard to get. Besides, her defensive best stats are really bad, honestly, so you would like to make her more tanky, maybe so she wouldn't die easily, but I think this can be a very potential good monster for raid. Not a must, but still a good one. This monster, Randy, I think he's great for Guild Wars, mainly if you want to buff your Cooper. He on himself, he has some good damage, he has ignore defense too, and the second can do some damage too, and actually a attack speed lead for Guild Wars. So I think this monster has potential. Like if you use Cooper, you will like to use him together with Cooper. So potential here. If you want to use fire monster, if you want to use defense based monsters, because he buffs them. Now let's go to others. Now this one interesting because he kinda does what Barretta does on Toa, which is like AoE damage over time, and he has damage proportional to enemy max HP. But the thing is, on Toa you want to avoid critical hits because some monsters there they react when you critical, like Zultans, like the Dark Cat's boss, no, Dark Cat's Fleur, which is annoying. And I think honestly this could be a good monster, but I think Barretta is better. We will talk this when I do other reviews. Now if you ask me if it's worth or not, I honestly think no, because it will be hard unless you get a SD of this monster secret dungeon, unless continuous make one. It will be take time to max skill, so better use Barretta because Barretta is better than him on everything. But this monster could be good, but Barretta is better than him, which makes him not makes him take the second place. So let's begin. Now this monster, even though this skill seems really good, I think this monster could be good for raid because she erases all the harmful effects and heal based on them. But her second and first skill are weak and she doesn't have actually a lead. But I think this monster could be interesting, but honestly, very honestly, I don't think I would build her. Because when I talk about other video, Konami already do this better. So I think I would rather stick with other options. But she could be an interesting monster if she got some buffs, if her second skill would be better, in my opinion. Now let's begin with other monsters. Like this one, actually, nah, don't bother with him because I think his first skill, even though it may sound good, like his second do is very low damage. And her third skill not in it special, you won't need this monster for anything else, like just jumpies, this is food. Now this monster, I think this is very interesting because nobody talks about him, but he's a very good defensive based fire monster. He gets Accuracy Awakening. First skill, good damage stuns. Second skill, strong damage and defense breaks. And third skill, gives him HP based on his defense. The good thing you have to notice here is that a monster with high defense and high HP, he can tank a lot. Like I think if we're talking about fire tanks, like we said now, we talk now about, Tantra, Kayan, but both are HP based, but defense based. I think he's one of the best ones. Now, if you ask me if he's worth making or not, honestly, even though he has a great skill set, looks like a great monster, I think no, because I will talk later about this monster and you guys will understand. But I think this one could be a very great fire tank, in my opinion. Just not he's just not the best, but one of the best. What make people not bother about him, like not a must, but he has actually a great skill set. 100% useful skills. Now let's continue. Now this monster, I don't like him because I think there are better options again. Actually, his skill set isn't that bad, but I think since he has nothing special, there is not much reason to stick with him for anything else. You guys will find another option for sure. This monster, I think, even though he has some interesting skills, the problem about him is, I think, is that why a taunt skill on a attack based monster, because his skills doesn't scale with HP, what would make him like no much sense to make him a tank, in my opinion. This monster is just badly designed. If his skills scaled with HP, he would be so good, but since it doesn't, makes him a super monster, not worth. Now let's talk about this. Now this one, you guys pay attention, is in my opinion not one but the best defensive monster based for raid, because this skill will always slow the boss unless in Oblivion, but this skill will most of the time slow the hide boss, because if you guys like a slow monster on the boss, this will be great because he has defense break, he has slow, this skill makes him a good fire tank too. And this second does severe damage because this skill does a lot of damage, very damage. Because it increases based on your missing HP. It adds 30% critical rate and the scale is on your defense, so he's just a great monster, like guys. If you don't have a Hua or a monster to slow the raid boss, I think this is one of the great defense monsters. And in my opinion, like I said, the better defense monster in overall utility damage. So that's it. This monster is a must if you don't have slow debuff for boss. Now this monster, I think he's very useless because his skills doesn't have much effect. This one example is pure damage. You guys will find better options than him, but just bad monster. This one too, like no much use for him. I don't like his skill set, nothing special. Okay, he can ignore defense, but with very low chance, which doesn't make him good. Jump this monster. This monster you can guys jump too, because even though it has a provoke, his skill doesn't scale with his max HP. So jump this guy too, nothing special about him. This guy, well, I don't know. Okay, this skill defense break and attack with another monster like Hawk, but I think you guys will find better option. Like again, sorry for repeating this so much, but this is the true in my point of view. Like don't bother with those four left monsters I'm saying. There are nothing actually special about them. Because if you talk about, okay, he can provoke the boss, okay, he can slow, okay, he can attack break, but when I say monsters, I have in mind though, I have in mind every place and what monsters are good on other elements too. So not good reasons to stick with those. This monster now, she can only be get by Guild War, but I don't think she has a good skill set. Like okay, she has actually she has a very good AoE damage, it seems like, but not good, not worth to stick with her. We have better options. Now let's talk about this guy. This guy is, my opinion, the best fire monster with scaling with attack damage. Like if you can use him on raids because his second skill actually is very good. This third skill has very high multiplier and low cooldown and can defense break like a lot. So and he has a speed lead and he has very nice base stats. His monster is just in my opinion, the best fire attacker monster. If you want a 3-star attacking monster, because the advantage of 3 stars compared to 4 stars is that 3 stars are still easy to max kill, because sooner or later you get enough food for this monster. So in my opinion, this guy is just like the best damage monster 3 stars. So let's continue. Now this guy, the problem about this huge scaling with defense is that I read on the Summoner Wars wiki, I think that the fact that okay, if you guys are reading this skill, but the part of damage that he gains with defense doesn't scale with critical damage, which doesn't make him that good, or else he would be. He's awakening with resistance, and resistance isn't good unless you're aiming for high amounts. So not worth this guy. This guy, I think you guys will find better options. His passive could be good on some situations, but he actually receives more damage, so he's a tricky monster to use. I wouldn't bother with him, guys. Don't worry, just jump this monster. I think you guys will find better options too. By the way, I'm saying he's tricky to use, but very complicated, not good for mostly of us. Now, this monster, I think this is a very interesting monster, because his first skill has great multiplier. Now, his third skill, there is a trick to use him. If you pair him with a real skill set like these runes you guys are seeing, these ones, with immunity, he won't get stunned on her version, which makes him very interesting, and I think he's worth to make, honestly, because defense break, the ignore defense is so good. I think you guys can find some use for him if you're looking for defense ignore. They're on fire monsters, there's Zin and there's Kali, but they have different uses and different purposes, like, okay, buff defense, ignore defense, but this monster is tanky. And he has good multipliers too. I saw one Wicca, you guys can see there. And I think this monster is interesting. He even gets critical hate awakening. He can be used on Guild Wars too, so he's worth a try. And the last one, I think this one. Honestly, I don't like this monster. Yeah, not good. I think there are better options. So overall, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video too. I will say overall my view about all the 3 stars and 2 stars. This one is situational, but good if you want to use him. This one is a must. Situational for raid. Sorry, situational for Necropolis, but good for SDs. Situational for raid. This one is a must for dragons and late game, and defeating the monster on Tower of Ascension, the boss on floor 100. This monster is very good. It allows her to, if protected, she can wreak havoc on arena and on Guild Wars. Just one shot in her enemies doesn't give it then time to response. This one is situational too. This one is like a must if you need, like I say, he's the best defense monster to use on raids. No, this one is like the best fire DPS, because we can compare him to Kali. He has the best nerfs, the best burst, and he has the best DPS, and he has better utility than her too. So even those two are damaging monsters, they are different roles. This is DPS, this is burst damage, so pay attention to this. And this monster is good too, depending on the situation. His second skill, actually, I think it's kinda useless, but I love his first skill and third skill. I think first skill has good multiplier instance, and third skill can ignore defense, and with immunity or real runes he won't get stunned. So this is basically everything I wanted to say. I hope you guys enjoyed. You can write down doubts on comments. I hope I covered pretty much everything I wanted. So that's it. Of course I forgot something. It's impossible to make a perfect video. I will do on the other elements too. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and see ya next time.